What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Engineers That Filters podcast, episode 85. I'm your host, Jacob Thompson, and tonight I'm drinking water. All right, and there is a story behind this that I don't want to go into right away. Well, after you guys introductions, we'll go into it because it's a storied tale.
Is it because
And
you're a punk bitch? Is that what it is?
Sounds like a
possibly,
pretty short story to me.
Yeah,
we're
I
gonna
don't
get
think there's
into it.
much detail involved with you being a punk bitch
Why
there.
don't you tell me what you're drinking? All right.
I'm
Get off my
drinking
ass.
an M43.
Real
my
front
last
wiper
one.
special.
Okay. Jacob's drinking water and I'm the front wiper?
Yeah, it's a punk bitch beer.
Okay.
Well, I'm Gabe. I'm drinking a real beer. I'm nursing the Tangerine Space Machine. I think I've got 3 left still. Really saving them for when I'm sober so I can taste it, you know?
See, this is the longest any like good beers lasted for you.
This is the most self-control I've had in a while. It's kind of crazy.
Classic Gabe move, though. Same beer 2 weeks in a row.
Right?
Have that variety,
Dude,
babe.
I've done like Miller
I know,
High
you're the Miller
Life.
High Life.
I probably have the longest run in the podcast of the same beer. I think that goes to me.
For sure.
Congrats.
Thanks. Fucker. Talking mad shit. What are you drinking?
Well, you know what? I've been
It's
freaking.
shit.
Well, all right. You certainly ain't
Sounds
wrong
like a
about
front
it.
wiper beer to me.
It's not a beer, but it certainly is a front
It's a
wiper
seltzer.
special. It's Bud Light Lime, the multivitamin freaking dissolved in some seltzer.
Like some Flintstones to
Mm-hmm. I literally can't stop thinking about it, except I did not want to drink a beer tonight, and I only had Bud Light seltzers left.
Yikes. If you want to hear our full thoughts on the taste of Bud Light Seltzer and many other seltzers, go check out our seltzer ranking episode for a while.
2-hour-long episode.
2-hour-long special, and see all of us just get absolutely obliterated.
And watch Gabe try
Need
desperately
to
to hold
pee
in his
for like
pee.
45 minutes.
No. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Like I said, it's episode 85. As always, you can find our show every Monday on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and Google Play. And you can follow us on Instagram at EWF Podcast. I can't say Twitter anymore, guys. I haven't posted a tweet in, it feels like years on our
Well,
account.
that's your problem.
I know, but it's a whole thing. All right.
That's
you
your
know.
job.
Just tweet.
Come on.
We have like 2 followers. It's not
Just
even
do
I
one.
bet
it.
if you tweeted more, we'd get more followers.
Yeah, but Instagram, we had good engagement on Instagram. So EWF Podcast on Instagram and EWF_podcast on Twitch, where you can watch us record live on Thursday nights around 8/7 Central. And yeah, so all right, let me give you the backstory on why I'm drinking water tonight. So I was gonna drink this new seltzer I bought. Okay, so I went to Target the other day. I'm a basic bitch, sue me. And I got this new one called Crook and Marker. Okay.
Okay.
Now, right off the bat, I cannot recommend anyone buy this seltzer because of the price tag. It is fucking ridiculous. I didn't realize the price tag until I brought it home and looked at the receipt. So,
Wow, look at this fucking big spender out here thinking he's got an engineering salary like Joseph.
so as we all know, Press top tier seltzer, a 12-pack of Press costs about $16. All right.
Yeah.
For the same price, you're getting an 8-pack of Crook and Marker, and I'm just like $2 per can. I don't think that's no.
You better
Like,
suck you off while
what's
you're
the
drinking it,
percentage?
you know?
What's the percentage?
I think it's like 4. It's not like it's up. It's not like it's 6 or 7.
Excuse me?
Yeah. So and it's 80 calories, which is less calories, so less value, obviously. But anyway, so it's like $2 a can. So I'm like, fucking yikes, right? So on Tuesday night, I'm drinking, and I'm like, I have a couple of these. So I tried a couple of the flavors, and it's good. All right, it's a premium seltzer. The can is the best can I've seen. It's better than Press. It's got a better matte finish than Press. Feels a little sturdier. It's got a nice gold top. I mean, it is a fucking premium ass can.
Well,
and
that's
I really,
why it fucking costs
appreciate it.
$2
It's the Mercedes of seltzers.
Yeah. Now the taste isn't quite as like blowing my skirt up. Like, it's good. Good punch of flavor. It's similar carbonation level to Press. It's pretty low carbonation. I've only had 2 flavors so far, so I'll give more of a report maybe next week. But here's what happened. All right, so Tuesday night I drink 2 of these seltzers. Bada bing, bada boom, great. Wake up on Wednesday, and my stomach is absolutely fucked. Okay, I swear to God, I was in the bathroom half the day on Wednesday. I don't know what happened.
What?
All right, I woke. So first off, okay, if you're a listener and you're about to be like TMI for how much I'm talking about poop, get over yourself. All right, it's episode 85. If you've gotten this far, you've heard enough about us. Wake up in the morning on Wednesday, okay, and I have my normal morning shit, which I have every day. Went fine. I'm in the shower afterwards, and I'm like, I kind of feel like I need to get a little more out. So I get out of the shower, I try to shit some more, and I'm just blowing smoke. All right, nothing's really happening.
Blowing smoke.
Shooting blanks.
Shooting blanks.
So I go to campus, not feeling great. Feeling a little, just something's not feeling good. And I go to lab for a bit, and once I'm like standing, that helps, and walking around. I have to sit in class for like almost 2 hours. That was painful. All right, I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom. Eventually got out of there, and I was able to shit a little bit more. We're getting like a tiny pellet. All right, or maybe a little more than a pellet,
Like
but we're
deer
getting a
poop.
small amount. Yeah. So I shit a little more. I'm like, okay, I feel a little bit better now, but I'm still like, something's not right. Go out through it more today, and I am shooting a third time, another small amount. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what did I do to my body? And I eventually eat dinner, and I'm like, so here's what I thought back on Tuesday. I'm like, what could have caused this? All right, one option, my dinner. I had burritos that I made that I also ate on Monday, so I didn't have any side effects on Tuesday. I'm like, I don't think it's the burritos, or it could be this seltzer for some reason. I only had 2, so I shouldn't have fucked
Please
me.
tell me you confirmed by drinking another seltzer.
No.
Damn it.
That's tomorrow, Gabe. That's tomorrow. So I'm gonna get to my thing here. So tonight, sorry. So back to Wednesday one more time. So I ate dinner. I ate frozen pizza just as a blank because
As
that's
a control, yep.
as a control. And even after that, my stomach was rumbling, and I like had to lay down. Like I couldn't even like sit at my computer because I was like feeling woozy. I laid down, then it was okay. So today I woke up, my morning shit, still not feeling back to normal, but over the course of the day, I'm kind of feeling all right. But so I had the burritos again tonight as a control. So if I get fucked tomorrow, it's the burritos. But if I feel fine tomorrow, I'm gonna drink the seltzers again tomorrow night, and then Saturday, if I'm fucked, something's going on with these
Wait, but
seltzers.
what are you eating for dinner tomorrow night then?
I'll do the burritos. But I'm saying burritos with water tonight. So if it's just the burritos, I'll find out tomorrow.
But what
Except
if there's a lag?
What if there's
What
a
if it's like
combination of
Yeah,
the
the
burritos?
2 burrito lag.
That's a good point. But I also don't have
you
any
won't
other.
know tomorrow if you're only doing the combo which one it is.
Well, not necessarily,
That's a good
because like, yeah, if you combine the two, maybe it's like, I don't know, when you freaking go like when you fuse in Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
That's
don't
also
know.
what I was thinking.
I'll risk the fusion, and we'll see what happens. But all I'm saying is if I get fucked on Saturday morning, something is going on with these seltzers, and another reason I cannot recommend them. Besides the price tag. So I'll keep you updated next week if maybe it was just a fluke and I'll be able to suck these things down because I got another however many 8 more to drink or whatever 6 more to drink, and yeah, I'll let you know. But so far, not a high recommendation for Crooked Marker. 1, because the price. 2, it may give you the runs all day.
Well, that's not the runs, but
Or yeah,
Wait,
that's the stops.
Wait, what is this? What is this thing called again?
Crook and Marker.
So,
Those
have you
hamburgers.
guys ever heard of when like people like wipe and they just have to keep on wiping and it's just like, oh yeah, my ass was like a marker.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what these fucking
Maybe,
seltzers
dude.
are named after.
Yeah.
Kirk,
I
because
don't
you're gonna be bent over the toilet all day.
Yeah.
Mark,
And like
because of the
here's the thing,
after
we've all had beer shits, right? It happens. You drink a lot, and the next morning you're not having a good time on the toilet. But I had 2 fucking seltzers, and these are like, it's seltzers. It's not even beer, like or any other alcoholic mixed drinkers, liquor or something. Like it's fucking seltzer. It should be the most tame. Like I don't know what's going on. So I'll let you guys know my results next week.
Sounds good. I'm excited.
Waiting on the edge of my seat. Hopefully not the toilet.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to text us and be like, guys.
Check out this shit I just took.
So on the same theme of doing experiments, tonight, because it is a multiple of 5 episode, we are back on the STEM topic train. You like that transition,
I
Gabe?
did, and I
Segue?
did. I mean,
Uh,
I appreciate the effort. I really do.
Now, I'll be honest, I forgot to warn you guys far in advance that it was a STEM episode, but you had about an hour and a half if you'd forgotten. So, and I have no idea what you guys brought tonight, but I'm ready to hear it. I'll go to Gabe first, because you mentioned you might have a little something.
Yeah, I didn't think of anything between that hour and a half because I went to the gym and then me and Tim watched some car videos on YouTube. But I'm gonna steal a conversation we had the other day in the car. 'Cause me and Tim spend a disturbing amount of time together. It's weird. It's usually from 7 to 8 or 9. Anyways, one of these conversations involved an article that some of our coworkers showed us about the COVID vaccine and how there's a bunch of them and there's some in final testing. And we were just kind of having the conversation of like, there hasn't ever really been a vaccine that's come out this fast. And obviously, like, they're pushing it because it's a big deal. Yeah.
On fire. Yeah.
But there's no real way to test like long-term effects, I feel like. Because they can maybe do like 2 months and then they're like, okay, good. But like, what if we get some I Am Legend situation where like, I don't know, maybe not to like a zombie degree, but like a year from now, someone's like, oh, my liver's fucked because I took some vaccine or whatever. Like we'd have no way of knowing. It's kind of spooky, Like I'm not an anti-vaxxer.
No, yeah.
Sounds like you are.
Okay, that's why I made the disclaimer.
Hashtag Gabe's an anti-vax.
Yeah, put that on the Instagram. But it's just like something that I feel like is almost being breezed over, and it's a little disturbing.
Yeah, it's not a nice thing to think about. Did that article mention like the typical like test periods or test durations for other vaccines in the past at all?
I don't think
curious.
so, but I want to say like a standard one is. I mean, don't quote me. I think it's like 3 years or something.
Okay.
For it to like, because you want it. That's the longest phase of testing, right? Is like long term effects or whatever. But,
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I guess that is one thing about the vaccine that I've not thought about is the long-term effects. I'm more worried about the efficacy of it, and let's say it only works 40 to 60% of the time, and then people think they're invincible, and then they still end up spreading it.
Well, did you see the Moderna vaccine? How it has like a 60% efficacy, but that's still good enough by the FDA standards to be a like a legit vaccine. They did it with 30,000 people, I think.
Well, what is like the standard rate for like flu shots and shit? Like,
well, flu shots are such a crapshoot because it changes every year.
they just guess, yeah.
Yeah, literally. Well, there's like the flu is like within a certain range of strains of whatever rhinovirus is the common cold. Whatever the flu is called.
Sheet right here.
There's like certain strains of it, and it's like whichever one like kind of is more prolific, and they just kind of like all right,
Pops off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's like too much testing. I know it's not super consistent year to year,
Yeah.
from my understanding.
I guess what's a vaccine that we have that's like a known thing that we've destroyed? Like is smallpox, isn't that something that we've
Or like polio or something.
or
Polio
yeah.
is pretty much
Like
eradicated.
when that first came out, how efficient was that? I don't know.
Yeah. But also, I feel like some of those weren't as like contagious. I don't know. I don't know. We're shooting out of our ass big time here. But
well, maybe you're shooting out of your ass like you were yesterday, but
I didn't have the seltzer you had. Okay.
yeah, my
None of
bowel
us did.
movements are perfectly fine. I'll have you know.
I'll have you know.
I feel like if there's ever been this much of a time pressure to get a vaccine out, at least not in recent history.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have the technology for it, right? It's just more of like, I don't think we've ever been in a situation where it's needed to be done this fast.
Well,
Right.
isn't COVID is pretty similar to SARS, right? Is it SARS or MERS?
So the top
Yeah.
your top 1 or 2 vaccines are pretty much just borrowing the SARS-1 vaccine and just kind of editing it for
Yeah. So like that's gonna have
ideally
testing
similar,
done,
but-
and like it's in my mind like the changes aren't gonna be drastic enough that it should have too many like huge effects, right? Because it's just, I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know enough
how
about
that shit works.
vaccines.
I think it'll also be really interesting to see how they like distribute it. Because in my mind, you would, if you haven't tested long-term effects, well, if you haven't gotten all the testing you want to get done, you want to give it to the old people. It's got less life to live, right? So if it works, great.
You only need it to work short term.
If not, oh wow.
God
He only
damn.
had a couple years left, anyways.
Wow. All right.
Is there like a priority list of like
Yeah.
ages that should get vaccines first? Is that
I think
like,
it's essential workers get it first. So like
Yeah.
no,
healthcare workers.
not like from a society perspective, but as like a health perspective? Like, would it make more sense for older people to get it first and then younger people? Because like if we get COVID, we're probably not going to die. So like older people should get it before we do.
Right.
Well, I don't know.
think
What
it's
I've heard is
usually-
it's based on your job, because they're not going to have enough immediately, so they're going to get the people who are exposed to it most often.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
But you'd also think you'd want to give it to like small children because they're gonna have the weakest immune. I mean, I know like this is different where it doesn't affect children as much, but you would think generally just because children have the weakest immune system, they haven't been exposed, right?
Yeah.
Regardless, I think it'll be pretty interesting to see how they distribute it, right? Because like, I don't know. You want I wonder like what form of math or what form of like logic or morals they're really using, because I'm sure different countries are gonna look at it differently, right? Like they may value I don't know, different things, and also might even use different vaccines that have different effectiveness ratings and stuff. Like be really interesting to see, and other things too, like worrying about, if it hasn't been completely tested to the point that they'd like it, like who are they going to give it to first? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm guaranteed there's gonna be a subsect of Americans who are like, "Oh, I don't need it because this virus isn't real."
Good.
Oh, this could definitely.
More
Natural selection.
freaking vaccines for us. That's what I say.
And that was one thing me and Tim had talked about too, is like, if the vaccine isn't as effective, like let's say it's 50% effective, or it does have a long-term health effect, like let's say, there is some big problem that shows up 6 months down the line, anti-vaxxers would go fucking nuts. They would, like, it's such a high stakes situation, because they'd be like, this is why I said don't use vaccines, because it'll do blah blah blah, or like it's only so much percent effective. Like it's a very high stakes situation, but they're also rushing to do it as fast as humanly possible. So
well, wasn't that a point in the movie Contagion? Was they didn't want to blow up, they didn't want to make the vaccine too quickly, because I think there was like a H1N1 outbreak previously, like not the one when we were alive. There was one like before, and the vaccine
flu.
Yeah, there was a swine flu, and it like, I don't know, I think if I remember from the movie, which I assume was accurate, right? Well, I'm saying like
That's a stretch.
the assumption.
No, like not the movie itself, but the topics they talked about, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because they talk about like a swine flu that went through in the 80s, and I assume they wouldn't make that up. I don't know what time period it was. But anyway, but the vaccine was either like ineffective, or I think it was just ineffective. And so like they rushed this vaccine and it didn't work, and they like were trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was like dangerous too. I don't remember enough about it.
Yeah.
I just remember watching the movie really early into quarantine.
It was like March. I think it was still March.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a really tricky situation. Like, I mean, there's just a lot of factors, and there's a lot of very interesting decisions that I'm sure our government will find a way to fuck it up. And other governments.
I mean, didn't Trump already say he doesn't want to work with the WHO on the vaccine?
Yeah, right.
Like,
makes a lot of sense, right? Why would you want to work with the world? I don't know. There's a lot of different factors, but I think it's one of the highest stakes vaccines, or like really like medical things I've ever experienced in my life. I'm not that old, but like I mean, in recent history, even seems pretty cool.
Yeah. And I guess just quickly while we're on this topic, this year is especially important to get your flu shot if you haven't yet. So because we don't want the hospitals combating flu patients and COVID patients. So if you don't normally get a flu vaccine, just go do it. You can probably get it for free at local pharmacy or something. So get that
And
shit done.
you can get the regular flu and COVID at the same time.
Which would not be fun.
That'd
That's
be
the
really
double
fun.
whammy. That's freaking getting it from both ends.
Yeah, so go get your flu shot if you can. My topic is similar to Gabe, so I'm gonna pause on it for a second. Let me go to Joseph because he finished sipping his beer faster than Dayton.
Fuck. I don't have a topic. I'm a fucking
You
front
son of
wiper.
a bitch.
And the funny thing is, I knew like yesterday. I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a STEM topic. I should think about something," and I didn't. The closest thing is I've been watching a lot of car videos recently.
Well, I was gonna ask you, Joseph, how's the car search going?
Well, really great up until Tuesday, because I bought a car on Tuesday.
Oh,
Oh,
So
really?
this is news.
I don't need to search anymore.
Okay, okay.
Are you gonna
so-
share? Come on, dude. I'm fucking sitting on the
Yeah.
edge of my seat.
Fuck. I got a 2020 Subaru Forester.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
Sport.
you gotta one up me, huh?
Yep. I should have gotten just one model year newer than yours,
Shut
though.
up.
Hindsight. Just
I don't know,
just-
dude. One model newer than mine's still pretty fucking old.
Yeah. Maybe one generation newer.
Yeah.
There you go.
But no,
So-
I picked it up. It like got to the lot on Tuesday. So
Feel good?
yeah, it's been weird driving a car that's not my Ford Escape that I used
Yeah.
to call a fat bitch. But
I
it's
love slapping and be like, "Come on, you old bitch!" That's
it's like the dashboard. You can make it up this hill, you fat bitch.
The weed whacker.
Yeah, man.
weed whacker.
Were you able to trade it in?
Yeah, I did. So don't have to deal with that. I don't know. I was looking online, fairly decent trade-in offer for it. I even talked him up quite a bit for it, so pretty nice.
This
but-
bad boy can make it up any fucking hill you throw at it.
This shit made it through Houghton Winters. It'll make it through anything, I tell you what.
I feel like that's not a good thing because they're like, "Oh, rust." I don't know.
There's actually wasn't too much rust on it. There was a little bit on the inside of the trunk door, but like that's not severe. You just
Yeah.
paint Rust-Oleum over it and it's good.
Dude, when I got the new exhaust on my Jeep, you could tell, like, just looking at it from the back, there's one shiny bit and the rest of it was just fucking rust.
Well, yeah, your Jeep was rusted as fuck.
Yeah, it's seen better days.
I've been seeing some rust recently on the old Blueberry, and I'm just like, man,
Oh.
that car has been outside for every winter for the past like 9 years. Like, big oof.
You know, like honestly, that's like a pretty decent feat of like the coatings to be able to withstand 9 years outside.
Especially like Michigan and Minnesota winters where like
Yeah.
they salt heavily. You
Yeah.
know, it's not like out west where they don't salt, so you just have to deal with the cold.
Yeah,
You
I
have to
mean
deal
like
with all that too.
the salt itself won't break through that coating. But like
Okay.
if you get like a rock or like chips or anything like that and then it gets down to the base metal, then that's when the salt just absolutely starts fucking your car.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So like if anything, like I think that it's more like the integrity of the coatings that I'm particularly fascinated in.
Yeah.
Rather than, because I mean, like, who gives a shit, dude? Like, it's salt, and it's like just fucking steel. Like, of course that's gonna rust to shit. But 9 years to have like a coating last that's pretty impressive.
Pretty good.
Dan's got a hard on.
Well, yeah. I won't even
You
lie.
can't even penetrate that coat, dude.
There's a
Not,
rock.
dude. That thing, the coatings are like 11 on the Mohs scale, and you know, if I'm like freaking diamond hard, that's 10. Like,
Not quite good enough. Not
I-
good.
It's not compute.
I can't. That thing would be scratching me.
So just have you continued to watch car videos even after buying your
Yeah,
car?
I was
On a-
watching one before we started this podcast today.
What's like some interesting things you've learned recently, if you can recall?
Well, like CVTs are pretty fucking cool. Which is what my car has. It's a constantly variable transmission. So instead
Mm.
of like 6 gears or however many in like a standard automatic, it's two steel belt or a steel belt and two pulleys, and they change the diameter of the pulleys to change the gear ratio
Mm.
between the two. There's like two axles, um, so that you don't get that like lurching of like the gear shift. You can like have it be um, a consistent transition as you get up to speed and um, get to a better horsepower or whatever. Which I think is really cool because then you're not like locked into like specific, like your first gear is this ratio, your second is this, so
Mhm.
it's more variable. Um, but I was watching this video and this guy was complaining about it for like off-roading.
A lot of car junkies absolutely hate CVTs.
Oh yeah, and like I can totally get it because you don't get that feel, right?
Mhm.
Of like
Mm.
getting that, it feels kind of lame because you're like accelerating and you're just going faster. But like that's no different than like an electric car. Um, but this guy was complaining that it doesn't have the low range, and I'm like, yeah, that one specifically doesn't, like on that car. But there's nothing saying you can't make one with a lower range. Like
Yeah.
I would argue it has way less limitations than like a
Yeah.
standard 6 speed or what. I don't even know what the standard these days are for automatics.
Or
It's
with the
not like the
turbo.
Yeah.
it's not the tech's fault, it's the implementation.
Yeah, exactly. And so I thought that was interesting how like I think it would be almost be better for off-roading purposes or like racing purposes because then you can like get exactly because your car's most efficient at a certain speed or not most efficient but the most horsepower at a certain RPMs. So you can like I think it's I don't remember what it is, but like you get the most torque right at one level. I've been watching a lot of engineering explain videos too, and he does it a lot better. He's got the whiteboards, that I don't have. But with that CVT, instead of like getting to peak torque and then switching to a higher gear and having to build up to that torque, you get to that torque level and then you can stay there as you're accelerating. So you would think, I think actually some like racing cars do have it, but it's not, but like, I don't know. For car junkies, it's not as much fun. But
Yeah,
like,
because it takes away. It's basically an automatic, but it's even worse than an automatic because you don't get the actual shifts that you actually do in an automatic.
yeah, like if you're gonna drive an automatic, you might as well have a CVT. But like, it's a further jump from a manual, right, than an automatic to a manual.
Hmm. So doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't your Forester have paddle shifters?
It does. So it's got like
Yeah.
preset. Yeah. So it's got like preset ratios of like it's 5. I was testing it the other day. So it's a 5 speed paddle shifters, but it just like jumps rather than,
Yeah.
does a smoother transition.
Mhm.
Yeah, my
So
Golf
it's
has
like
that.
it's pretty shitty. It's funny, but like it's like you tried. It's cool, like if you
Like
want to do
you
that.
gotta commit if you're just gonna like they're trying to please like a very specific audience. It's like, dude, just fuck them and just do what you need to do. Like,
Yeah. No, I was kind of worried because first one I've ever driven, but I mean I've been driving it for a couple days now, and I like it. Like I think it's really I can admire the technology behind it because like I heard about it and I was like, okay, it has pulleys that adjust. How do you adjust like pulley diameters? And they're like funnels that like are like yeah, they're like in a V groove, right?
Hmm.
And they get closer and
yep,
further
yep.
apart, and that's how you change the diameter. And it's like a steel belt too, so it's not so that it doesn't slip, and you don't have to worry about like stretching of it and stuff.
You do have to worry about stretching of it, but
But not as much as like a rubber belt, right?
yeah,
So it's a bit more rigid. Um, so
it has
I don't
better
know. It's
power transfer.
yeah, exactly. So it's I don't know. I think it's pretty cool technology. Um, that I guess has been implemented for quite a while. Because then I was watching a bunch of like the history of it, and you know, it's one of those things like someone made it a while ago, like 20 years or so, more than that probably ago, and they're like, we have this, and they put it in a car, and everyone's like, this sucks, and now they're like becoming more.
Didn't they do that with diesel engines?
Probably,
That guy
yeah.
like die like not even it being used at all, and then someone's like, "This is pretty neat."
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that did happen with the diesel too.
I want to say
A
the guy
lot
like
of-
died knowing it was a failure.
A lot
Mhm.
of technology in cars. That's what happens. Like in like the 80s, there was a lot of technology that like a lot of like the Japanese car manufacturers like started putting in as like, like tests and stuff like that. And they're like, wow, this shit kind of sucks right now. And a lot of the time, like now, like 40 years later, they're coming back to it and they're actually implementing it. It's actually pretty
Well,
decent.
shit, I forget. I saw this thing probably on Reddit or something, but I want to say it was Audi or BMW had a touchscreen in like the 80s, and it was
Oh.
like just a very basic touchscreen, but like you could like I think it showed the road kind of thing and like stuff like that, but at that time like the drivers were like, I'm too distracted by it.
Now
You're
we just
not-
don't give a shit. We're like, yeah,
Yeah.
distract me. I don't care. Just end my life. Like
Exactly. It's so like ingrained in you to be able to use a touchscreen while driving.
hmm
But yeah, so yeah, just to go with what Dayton was saying, how a lot of shit is like a lot older than you think, and then
Yeah,
made
it's
more prolific later.
it's interesting because like I feel like now there's a lot less like creativity when it um comes to like cars. It's like a lot of them are approaching like the same, like physical design because it's the most efficient. A lot of
Well,
them
yeah,
are,
fuel efficiency is a huge thing.
yeah, I mean, because the EPA is making them get to a certain fuel efficiency, by a certain year or whatever. So they don't really have as much creative freedom anymore. And then a lot of regular just like consumer cars, like not for like junkies or anything like that. They're just moving towards like small displacement with a turbo, because it just gets more fuel economy. Yeah, what's up, Gabe?
Oh, I was just pumping. That's
He
what
was
I've
raising
got.
the roof, dude.
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
you
that's
were.
what he has.
Well,
Yeah.
but yours is more of like an enthusiast. It's not like just like a consumer car. It's not like a fucking
mean-
Toyota Corolla or a
Yeah,
Chevy
that's
Trax or anything like that.
It has a little more punch than a Chevy Trax. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Trax is such a bad name. God damn it.
Dude, but it's
Such an ugly car.
it saves 3 letters instead of having 3 letters, it just puts an X.
Yeah, that's how you know it's got that
Well, then
X
it
factor.
only saves 2 letters
CKS.
into an X, so it goes 3 to 1. It's only saving 2
Oh,
letters.
yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying now.
There's
okay.
2 less letters.
Okay.
I feel like some companies are going a little bit too far on the fuel efficiency because my mom helped me move in. She rented a Jeep SUV, and it fucking shut off the engine if you were
Yeah.
brake.
Yeah,
That's
if
so-
you stop at a light, the engine will shut off for a lot.
It
My car
fucking
does that.
Sucks. I hate it.
Why? I think it's awesome. Like, if you're stopped at some lights, you're stopped for like.
I think- My issue with this Jeep was it was a little bit too short of a time. Like literally, if it was like a stop sign and you stop,
Why does it matter?
Because like then the engine starts up again. It just feels weird. I don't know. I personally just didn't.
Okay,
vibe with it.
boomer.
No, like, because
Like yeah, if you're at like a long red light, 100%.
like you get fucked at like especially some of those like left turn lights, you can get fucked by it and like sit there for like minutes, and having your car just sit on. It's not
Okay,
worth
but
it.
it burns so little fuel when it's idling. Cars are.
But in like
I think-
stop and go traffic, it actually makes like a difference.
That's for sure, because that's where your highway MPG fucking sucks.
I feel like Engineering Explained did a video on this.
He probably did.
Because I was very skeptical of it at first because I was concerned about the starter motor just like
So
burning
was I.
out.
Actually, that was one of my. I mean, I asked the fucking car dealer, but they're like,
he's
yeah,
just gonna blow smoke up your ass.
yeah. But he said that he's driven Subarus all his life. Never replaced a starter. I was like,
Okay,
whatever.
except Subaru
Well, they
hasn't
didn't
been
have
doing it for that long. Like,
yeah.
oh.
But
Slaps roof of car. This fucker can start so many times.
I don't know. Yeah, to me, it just felt like if you had a stop sign, it would shut off, and that was a little too short.
Dude,
for
why
my
the
taste.
fuck aren't you just rolling through it?
That is, who stops at a stop sign anymore?
Sorry, I'm blind and I actually thought that said yield.
I thought it was a triangle.
I thought it was a yellow triangle instead of a fucking.
Sir, how are you driving?
It's a Tesla. It drives itself.
Yeah, why did you get a Tesla? Did you
The
look at getting a
Chevy
Tesla,
Trax.
Joseph?
I want a Tesla really bad.
Did you look into it? Like
I
even like
did.
used ones?
Not real heavily, just because then it would make more sense if I owned the house I'm living in. Because I'd like install a charger and like I'm not parking in a garage right now because this fucker lives above me is taking the charger.
Okay,
or
you have
the
a whole
garage.
entire floor. I have a small fucking room.
And the den.
Yeah. Oh.
You have 2 rooms. You also didn't want the basement. That's
I'm
not
pretty
my
sure
fault.
if you
Not the
added
point.
these 2 rooms together, they would not equal your room.
Wait,
My-
hang on a second.
Your
Hang on a second.
closet is almost as big as my den.
Wait, can you guys actually like sometime this weekend measure the square footage of Gabe's 2 rooms and the garage and then compare it to what Joseph has?
I think they'd be very comparable.
So does that include that little landing area out of my room, the bathroom, and my closet then?
Bathroom definitely counts.
Bathroom definitely
Definitely
counts.
because it's all
Closet
yours.
and bedroom.
I'd say closet, but that landing is like shared space.
All
Yeah,
I'm
'cause you
hearing is
go-
Tim is getting absolutely fucked in this deal.
No,
Yeah,
his room
because
is good.
both of you guys were like, I don't want the basement.
Yeah, well,
Before
also-
we even moved in, before we even saw it.
Hey, well, when you bitch during winter, I'm just gonna laugh at you.
I'm gonna buy a space heater.
I'm gonna have a car I never have to brush off.
I don't
Boom,
care.
bitch.
Gabe, except you're gonna be subsidizing his space heater costs. Just FYI.
Oh, that's fine. I don't have to brush off my car. I'll take that. I'll take that L.
Hey, this isn't Houghton.
Yeah,
There's not a whole lot of snow anymore.
that
It's just cold, and that garage is not heated.
No. It'll
Yeah,
probably
Or
still get frost.
insulated.
It'll probably still get frost.
I was thinking the other day, I'm gonna get absolutely fucked in this apartment in the winter because my bed's in the front, by the kitchen, and there's these massive floor-to-ceiling windows. Like, and there's just a lot of windows in here, and it has high ceilings, which is nice, but heat rises. So like, I'm gonna get absolutely fucked.
Dude,
in
you're
that
in
car.
an
Get a
apartment.
heated mattress pad.
Our apartment last year was fine on heat. Remember,
Yeah.
we waited till like halfway through October before we turned on the heat.
This is an old building.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but it's
guarantee you that it
still-
doesn't
There's
have
not
that
nearly as
good.
many apartments as the building we were in, Joseph. There's 8 or 10 apartments in this building.
Yeah, but my point being is like, other apartments are gonna start turning their heat on,
That's
and
true.
then that's gonna heat the whole building.
That's fair. We'll see. I'm just worried about the window. I'm worried about sleeping because I'm right next to like a
Just
massive
get that
window.
plastic shrink wrap shit.
Yeah, I'll have to get like a ladder too, just to
Yeah,
shrink wrap the entire wall.
that'll.
Dayton, what do you got tonight?
Well, so this came up in, I guess, last weekend. So I was discussing seltzers with another one of my friends here, and I was surprised because every time that he brings over seltzers, he always brings over White Claws, right? So
He's still your friend.
he is begrudgingly, right? But it made me think because I was naturally very curious and probably kind of inflammatory towards him. I was like, bro, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, why do you drinking White Claws? But I tried to word it in a little bit nicer of a way, which when I'm like 5 beers deep, I'm of course not even gonna put any thought into that really. But I asked him, I was like, what is it about like White Claw? Because like he's had press, like I've gave him press before, and I was like, bro, why do you choose White Claw over press?
That didn't change your life.
Yeah, and he was like, sometimes I just want to have one single flavor, and I really like how much of a bite it has, like in terms of the seltzer, and I think that's something like. I guess I want to pick Jacob's brain specifically on this because he has some knowledge on like taste buds and shit like that. But
Oh,
like,
you are really overselling my knowledge on that, but okay.
okay, well, there goes my entire
Give it
topic.
to me,
I
give it to
wanted
me
to
anyway.
friggin'. I was wondering like, what, like, is there like a taste bud like difference with like someone who like likes more carbonation, or is it all just like, oh yeah, like I just prefer that. I like it when it burns my throat as it goes down and the carbonic acid eats my flesh.
Well, is it the carbonation bite or is it the alcohol bite? Because had a
He
similar
said
conversation.
he specifically said carbonation. He said that he
Okay,
likes it very seltzery.
okay. Because
So
I was
here's
gonna
what
say
I'll
like
say.
I had a conversation with my brothers-in-law, and they drink like straight whiskey. A couple of them do at least, and they're like, I like that alcohol taste, and like
Mm-hmm.
that, like so that's why they prefer White Claw over some of those. Or they hadn't had press at this point. This was before I like had the press, but it wasn't cold yet. So I was like, you just gotta wait.
Mm-hmm.
It'll change your minds. But yeah, so that's where I thought you were going with that versus
Mm-mm.
carbonate. So continue, Jake.
That is a good point though.
So I'm channeling the remnants of my memory from when I took anatomy a few months ago. So do you guys remember when we were kids and they showed us that like picture of like the tongue and it's like this part
Isn't
is
that
sweet.
completely false?
It's complete bullshit. It's
Hmm.
complete bullshit. Um, essentially all of your they're called gustatory cells, your
I
tongue
like that
cells
word.
are the same. If I remember correctly, the different sweet, sour, bitter, umami tastes are, oh man, I don't think it's a different cell type. It's or shit. I can't remember if it's a different cell type and they're just scattered evenly, or if the different chemicals are just taken up by the cells and they react to them differently. But in any case, I don't think people have anatomically different gustatory slash tongue cells, and that would change their taste preferences. I
So
would
it's mostly
assume
just like a
I
personal
would assume
thing and
some
not,
psychological,
yeah.
yeah. But also, if he's talking about the carbonation bite, that to me is more of a physical sense as opposed to like a taste thing.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
Well,
he has more like um, pain slash touch receptors in like the back of his throat or something, or he's
so
just
he's a
more sensitive.
masochist, is what you're telling me.
Exactly.
So
I mean, Joseph brought
next.
that up back when we were doing the seltzer episode. He's like, sometimes you just want when you drink a soda, you just want to fucking pound it and get that pain that feels
You
so
get
good.
that, you burp a little bit and it makes your eyes water and it comes out your nose, Sometimes you just want that.
It's not a gag on that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it probably is a combination of a lot of things. It's probably, personal preference that's been built up from experience, like what you had as a kid, um, what you were told was good, or what you had to eat or drink based on what your parents gave you, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there's going to be any large anatomical differences between people. But I have a friend who's in a lab that actually tests that, so I can get back to you. I can ask her tomorrow and see if she has any
Okay.
thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean,
So helpful now.
I wanna learn more about that because like I understand that when you put CO2 into water, it's gonna break down into carbonic acid to some extent. So there's gonna be some, that's like what causes like that like burn, right? There's gonna be a few different things that cause the burn. There's one of them is the carbonic acid. The other one is probably the gas bubbles like collapsing slash them like adsorbing onto like your mouth tissue or whatever. But like the carbonic acid part makes me think that like maybe it's like the like taste bud related, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Either you're tasting the carbonic acid, or it might be like a chemical receptor specifically. So I mean, there's a bunch of different kinds of receptors that are kind of in the touch category.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also like the type of cells that are in your throat are pretty simple. Um, so I can't imagine there being a lot of like specificity there as regards to like taste or even touch. So yeah, I don't think if I had to take a wild swing, I would say he's not a mutant or anatomically different than you. I think it's the personal preference thing.
So he actually is just a masochist, and in that case, when
He's
I
just
see him
fucking
next,
crazy.
I should just fucking beat him up because he'll like it.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
exactly.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
on.
taste is super interesting because like the lab that my friend works in, The lab's goal is to make essentially vegetables more appealing by analyzing how people taste them and then adjusting that and trying to make them more palatable. Which is like a part of nutrition that I feel like on paper makes a lot of sense, but I feel like people would be like, oh, it's not really that important, like scientifically. But I think it totally is. Like, I mean, it does. You can do all the nutrition science you want, but people don't actually eat healthier. Then what's the fucking point? You know. So I think the research in that area is really fascinating, trying to get people to enjoy quote unquote healthy food, a little bit more.
Yeah, that's something like I personally like. It grinds my gears, right? So I obviously eat like a lot of vegetables, and I would never say that like I struggled to eat vegetables as a kid or anything like that. But the more that you eat vegetables, the more that you just like your body's just like, yeah, this is what I'm eating, and then eventually your cravings for all the other food just stops. So like, if people just stopped like with their instant gratification, like, oh yeah, I just want this fucking Twinkie and Mountain Dew right now, and instead they just had some fucking like carrots and celery with hummus or something like that. If they did that for like probably 3 weeks, their cravings would probably go away. Like,
yep,
that requires a lot of self-control.
I know, and it's just really disappointing to.
Well, like I don't eat a whole lot of sweets. Like I just don't eat.
You don't
sweets.
enjoy them, yeah.
I mean, I do, but I just never crave them.
But
and
like
then
chocolate and shit like that, like.
Well, chocolate. There's other sweets than chocolate.
No.
But oh, okay, then I guess I've been lied to my entire life. But like, whenever I do, it's like, well, I want more of that now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can totally see that. It's like I don't eat a lot of sweets, so I never like crave anything like that. But when I do, like, so right now because of COVID, we get like a free lunch on Tuesday and Thursday, which is pretty dope. But anyway, we get it's like a sandwich, chips, and a cookie is usually what it is. Usually it's chocolate chip cookie. I keep it, give it to my girlfriend. But sometimes it's a sugar cookie. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna eat half of it. I eat like half of it. I'm like, nah, I want to keep eating this. Like, I just feel like I need to keep eating this. I don't know if it's like my monkey brain, like sugar, or like there's food in front of me, so I need to eat it, or what. But like,
no, it's definitely the sugar. I mean, literally sweets are engineered to be addictive. Like they spend a ton of time in laboratories getting the perfect, like, I forgot what the ratio is, like to sweet to fat to something else. This ratio that will make you want to crave it and keep eating it. And that's why, like, if you can cut it out of your diet, you won't crave it anymore. But if it is something that's often in your life and often around you, you will reach for it again and again because your monkey brain's like, that makes you feel good,
Yeah,
goddamn monkey brain.
I feel like a lot of it for me is like its physical presence. Like if it's there, like if I'm weak at the store and I buy it, shit's gone. Like
well,
shit.
Dude, do you guys remember that one night that I bought?
I know exactly where
I
you're going.
bought like 2 things of like Chips Ahoy, and then I bought
they
some
were
like
on
Bugs
sale.
Juice or something like that. And I want to say I absolutely annihilated the one box of Chips Ahoy that night.
You ate the entire box.
I think you ate the whole box that one night.
Yeah, I definitely ate an entire box one night, and it was just like up until then, I literally hadn't eaten them. Like I like didn't really have like any like sweets or anything like that, except then I just
that's my
I bought them.
I remember coming back to the house and you were like halfway through it and you're like, Joseph, I just got these cookies. There were 2 for like $3.
Yeah, it was a steal.
And I was like, good job, Dayton. He's like, yeah, I got these today, and they're like half gone. And then by the end of the night, they were all gone. It wasn't even like a Friday. I think it was like a Wednesday or something.
Well, then, I mean, we'd be at Econo, and you'd be just going to the cookie aisle and grabbing a pack of Keeblers or something else, and those were always gone super fast.
Yeah.
I would treat myself every once in a while.
We did go to gyms on Fridays and grab some little treats. I got those like chocolate covered nuts and shit.
Oh yeah. I definitely have more self-control now.
Yeah, I'm even that way with beer though too. Like if it's there, it's like I'll have one with dinner. But lately I've been like trying to consciously not drink. I mean, I'm drinking now. Joseph sips beer. I've been like trying not to drink except for like Thursdays, more or less, unless I've had like a stressful day. And after, well, I mean, it's probably been like 2 weeks that I've been thinking about it. I've definitely like cut down a lot from it, just from like consciously thinking about it and like just not even like opening the fridge, just being like, drink the water, it's fine. But I kind of replaced it with like another habit. I replaced it with those freezy pops. Like, I'm gonna eat a freezy pop instead, like a fucking 2-year-old.
That was so fucking good, though, dude.
Like my mentality is like, this isn't as bad as a beer, right? It's just one, and then I don't know.
There's a shitload of sugar in that thing, but
I know it's probably a wash. It probably is. So it's like, fuck. I've been trying to cut those out too, but like, they're right there in the freezer.
All right,
like,
all right. So Gabe, this
They're
is
like
this
$3 for 50
and
of
you
them.
get so many. That's the thing. It was like
that's because it's
$2.50.
literally sugar water.
I know what it is.
Gabe, here's your replacement. All right, do what I did. Unsweetened applesauce, man. You know, a little sweet craving. Just pop on those bad boys, suck it down. You're good to go.
I think I replaced it this week because I just got some new protein powder. I was running low. Got some new ones.
A little spoonful of protein powder. Just eat that right up.
Get it with there. And I have I got a new vanilla flavor, and it's got like no sugar. Well, it's got like very
Aspartame
minimal.
or stevia or something.
Maybe,
Oh.
Yeah. But it's like it's enough for me to like get that high, you know? Like I'm satisfied.
God damn it, Gabe.
Come back from
All
the
right.
gym, those up, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Gotta treat yourself a little bit. So my topic tonight, I'm basically just gonna talk about what I've been learning in the lab, because I've just been a Dumbo baby, learning a bunch of basic shit. So if you have any background in like growing bacteria, it's gonna be really boring for you. But yeah. So basically, the biggest thing. So I'm working in a lab that works in the gut microbiome, so just bacteria shit. And right now, my main objective is to learn how to grow bacteria, so I can study it. And the biggest thing I've learned is that everything is fucking contaminated, dude. Like you have to be so careful you do not contaminate your samples. And like that the level you have to think on such like a different level that I'm used to of like, yeah, if I just touch this with my thumb, like a gloved thumb on accident, it's contaminated. Like you gotta start over or re-sterilize it. So for example, like one of the first things I did was we had some bacteria in the fridge that was already, grown. I had to streak it off one plate and streak it onto another plate, right? So I can grow it and just to see I can streak correctly. So whenever you're working with bacteria, you have to work under an open flame. So you have a Bunsen burner on the bench top and it's on, and what that does is it creates an updraft essentially around your work area. So bacteria that are falling will essentially get pushed away. So you always have to be working on with a flame if you're doing anything that you're trying to keep sterile. And yeah, like every time, so you use this little thing called an inoculation loop to grab bacteria, just a little metal loop. And you have to, heat it with a flame. Grab your dish. You have to cool it off on the agar, which is like the Jello type stuff that you grow stuff on. Scoop it, put it down, grab the new one, streak it on there, yada yada yada. But like even when you're grabbing bacteria, I mean, you literally just have to touch it, and you're getting thousands probably on this, this loop that you just cannot see, right? You streak it on there, put it in the incubator, which is just like an oven essentially, or like a very low temperature oven, and it grows. So yeah, I've learned it's really fucking easy to grow bacteria because I've contaminated some of my shit. I made this. It's called just broth, which is just like liquid that bacteria can grow because it has nutrients and stuff. And so back in the put. So if you want to sterilize something, right, there are two ways to do it. One is autoclaving, which I had not heard of before going in this lab, but apparently it's like the most basic shit. An autoclave is just an oven that also uses heat to sterilize, but it uses pressure so that things don't overboil, right? So you can do liquids without the boil over, you losing like part of your solution. So either autoclave it or you filter sterilize it. So you have to push everything through like a super what's the correct word here? Like a 3-micron filter, right? So you're catching anything that could possibly contaminate your sample, right? So those are two options, and that's pretty much it. So it gets really tricky when you have to think about the order you do things, because some things can't be autoclaved because they'll melt, right? So I was trying to make a solution that was to grow bacteria, and the bacteria was going to eat glucose to grow. But you can't autoclave glucose; it'll caramelize the sugar. So you're like, okay, so I have to make the solution with everything except for glucose, autoclave it, and then I have to filter the glucose solution through this small filter, and then add it to my solution without contaminating it. Because whenever you are moving from one thing to another, you're possibly adding contaminants. So just all this shit you just have to constantly be thinking about, and it's really, really fascinating. It's an interesting problem to solve with that order and stuff like that. And I've also just like, been getting back to, I took organic chemistry lab 2 summers ago at this point, and that was the last time I've been working with like measuring out chemicals and adding them in and like mixing solutions, which like is again like super easy basic stuff, but it's like I haven't done it for a while, so I have to remember how to do all that kind of stuff. There's also like a bunch of like fun little gadgets in the lab. So there's this thing called a vortexer, which I am in love with. Okay, so you have this little tube, essentially like a plastic test tube, right, that you grow shit in. So you pour in your broth, you put your bacteria in there, swish it around, and then you're like, all right, I gotta get this nice and stirred up. So you go over to this vortexer, and it's essentially like it's like a soft plastic plate, and then the machine, and it's on like a little stand so it can move around, it can vibrate. So if you touch it with your tube and you push down, it'll just start vibrating super fast and create a vortex in your tube. So you just push it down for like 10 seconds and it spins it really fast, and it's just super fun to use. I love fucking doing it.
Huh.
What else? I mean, yeah, like the autoclave is cool, but I mean it gets old pretty fast. Incubator is cool. Like, I mean, it's just an oven, you grow bacteria, but like there's a it's so it heats up, keeps things warm, but also like shakes to stir things. So there's like little stands for your tubes and your beakers, and it'll just swish them around, things like that. Oh yeah, micropipettes, which I mentioned last week, are super awesome, where you can like set the exact volume you need to do and grab it and put it in, which is super weird. I had to work with like 100 microliters yesterday, which is just like an insanely small volume. Like it's literally like you grab it and it's just like one drop going into the the solution. So it's just weird stuff. And like I said, like the scale is just so small. You have to think on, and you have to get these conditions just right for bacteria to grow, or else they won't. Like I tried to grow some bacteria overnight last night, and it came this morning, and like none of it grew. And I'm just like, all right, I gotta figure out why this happened. Maybe another nutrient it was missing, stuff like that. So yeah, it's been weird, and yeah, just trying my like fucking hardest to not contaminate shit is like it's such like a hurdle, a mental hurdle to get over. Because if you leave that overdraft or updraft bubble, I mean you're essentially fucked. And if you open like a container too many times, like the chance of bacteria getting in are insanely high, and they'll come back the next day and there's just a shit ton of bacteria growing there because if there's food, they'll fucking grow and duplicate.
Mm-hmm.
So
Is there any way to visualize the updraft? Like, can you put like something in the air to like see what your working zone is?
maybe you just kind of have a general feel. I mean, it's about like a foot radius around the Bunsen burner. Um, you could maybe try throwing something, but yeah, you're just creating these convection currents, and also like whenever you open something, you're supposed to heat it with the flame, so that that object itself is creating convection currents, so things won't land on it. Like you have like cans of glass pipettes you use. You have to heat the can, open it, you heat the lids, you set the lid down, you're heating the can, pull out the pipette, and then relit it, so that everything is hot, so that it's heating the air, creating this current, so that bacteria won't be able to. A less chance that bacteria is going to fall, and like
Mm-hmm.
everything you do is just decreasing your odds of contamination. Yeah, and even like the gloves you use are dirty and all this sort. Like if you think about it a little too much, it's pretty gross. Like just thinking about the amount of bacteria, but like we always have thousands, if not millions, of bacteria like on our skin at any given time.
Yeah,
Um,
and I mean, and not all the bacteria is bad even. Like, there's a lot
oh
of
no,
just benign bacteria, and there's good bacteria, and like, I don't know.
yeah, they're just chilling. They're just trying
Put
Yeah,
to.
in like a lab environment where you're growing one specific one.
yeah,
You
then
don't
it's
want other
problematic.
shit.
But like for us, it's
Yep.
like, dude, I could freaking pick my nose right now and freaking eat it, and I probably won't get sick.
Supposedly, that's the best way to build up your immune system, from what I've heard.
I have heard that as well. I
I
have
know what
heard
I'm
that.
doing later. Munching on some boogers.
Trying to build up my immune system, you know.
Yeah, no, I'll be once I learn some more interesting stuff. I'll let you guys know. But it's a very interesting process, and I cannot tell you how annoying it is to come back one day and you realize an entire bottle of some shit you made is just completely contaminated, and it smells so fucking bad. Like I cannot express to you how bad bacteria smells when it's in that volume. Like it's so nasty, and you have
When
to
you have an environment where you're supposed to grow it and it just
Yeah.
explodes, I imagine.
whenever you
Faster.
open the incubator, it's just like a waft of oof, like that does not smell good. And I'm also working with E. coli and salmonella, so it's like if this shit gets inside my body, it's not gonna be a fun time. That's what I was worried too of did I get fucked because I accidentally ingested some bacteria, but I wasn't even in the lab at all on Tuesday, so most likely that wasn't the case, but you never know.
Could be
Yeah,
E.
that-
coli, could be a seltzer. Who knows?
Maybe there was E. coli in the seltzer. I don't know. I don't know if they're doing over at Crook and Marker, where the fuck their name
At
is.
Dirty Marker.
Dirty marker. Crooked marks, you know.
God damn, yeah, I won't make another poop joke.
What's stopping you?
It gets to be some pretty just low hanging fruit at that point. But yeah.
Low hanging
You know
dingleberries.
what else is low-hanging fruit?
There, I did it. Okay, I'm the immature one. Damn it.
And that's our show for tonight. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Maybe go watch on YouTube and just give us a view, give us a like. We've been getting 1 like on all of our videos, which I appreciate. I don't know who you are, but I like you because you like our videos. You can find our show every Monday on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and Google Play. Follow us on Instagram. I almost said Twitter. On Instagram.
We still have a Twitter.
At EWF Podcast, and follow us on Twitch at EWF_podcast. If you want to watch us live, hot and ready. You know what I'm saying, Joseph?
Oh, I know.
So,
Just like that good Little Caesars, that 11 p.m. 4-hour-old Little
Leftover,
Caesars.
Been in the oven been in the hot box for fucking 3 hours.
And then
Yeah.
on our kitchen table for 7 hours.
It's
That's
more
how
like 17 hours.
Sorry,
That's
I
how you
meant to
grow
say
some
7
bacteria at home.
days.
You leave a pizza on the counter for a few days, you get some homegrown bacteria.
We still ate it though. It didn't stop us.
Pop that bad boy in the toaster for 20 or a
it's
couple
tortured
minutes.
the bad bacteria.
Good.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.